I don't buy creepy toys. I don't collect horror merch. And I definitely don't believe in haunted dolls. But the day I brought home the Labubu doll, something started following me. Something small. Something that never stayed where I left it. And this is the worst mistake I've ever made. I found it in a tiny collectible shop at the very edge of town. One of those places you don't see unless you're lost, or not supposed to be there at all. It wasn't on Google Maps. It didn't even have a sign outside. The windows were dusty, the lights barely glowing, and the whole place looked abandoned even when the door creaked open to let me in. Inside, the shelves were crammed with old toys, strange dolls, and figures that looked like they'd been staring at nothing for years. It smelled like a mix of dust, old wood, and something faintly sweet, like rotting flowers. Behind the counter sat an old man with cloudy eyes. He didn't look up, not even when I walked inside. His voice was low and papery when he spoke. "Don't put it near your bed." I froze. I hadn't said anything. I hadn't even picked anything up yet. I thought maybe he was just trying to create some kind of creepy marketing trick to make the toys memorable. But the way he said it, like it was a warning, didn't feel like a joke. On a crooked shelf near the back, wrapped in yellowed plastic, sat a Labubu doll, alone, separated from the other toys. Its eyes looked glossy, wet, as if someone had just been crying before placing it there, and its smile was wider than any official version I had ever seen online. Too wide, like it had been stretched. When I picked it up, the plastic crinkled and the doll felt warm. Not room temperature warm. Warm like someone had been holding it just seconds before. But I convinced myself I was imagining things. I paid. The shopkeeper never looked at me, not once, and I walked out. I didn't look back. That night, I placed the Labubu on my desk, far from my bed, far enough that I wouldn't roll over and see it in the darkness. I went to sleep easily at first, but around 3 in the morning, something pulled me out of a dream, a soft, raspy, rhythmic breathing. At first, I thought it was my own, but it didn't match my breath. It didn't even sound human. My eyes slowly adjusted to the dark. The room was still except for the curtains lightly swaying. I reached for my phone, turned on the flashlight, and froze. The Labubu doll was no longer on my desk. It was sitting at the foot of my bed, perfectly upright, head slightly tilted to the side as if it had been listening to everything I had said in my sleep. I didn't move it. I didn't touch it. I couldn't. I just stared into those glossy, wet eyes until a cold shiver crawled up my spine and finally broke me out of my frozen panic. In the morning, I saw them, right on my bedroom door, 3 long, thin scratches, perfectly parallel, like something tiny had clawed its way out of my room, or in. My heart pounded as I looked back at my desk. The Labubu doll was there, sitting exactly where I had left it last night, exactly where it should have been, except its smile was different, wider, more stretched, almost proud. That's when I started feeling an unease deep in my gut. This wasn't just creepy anymore. This was wrong. So I set up my phone to record myself sleeping. If the doll moved again, I wanted proof. The next morning, I checked the footage. Most of it was nothing but static, long stretches of digital noise. But around 2:58 a.m., the video suddenly cleared. Labubu was standing on my desk. Then, slowly, extremely slowly, its head turned toward the camera. And that's when the whispering began. Layered voices, childlike, but underneath something ancient, something old and tired and hungry. "Don't watch me." The camera cut to black, just like that. The file ended abruptly, as if something had shut it off on purpose. My chest tightened. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't a glitch. I decided I needed to get rid of the doll. I grabbed a garbage bag and shoved the Labubu inside, tying the knot so tight my fingers ached. I marched outside, heart racing with every step, and threw it into the dumpster behind my building. I waited a moment, listening. For a second, Everything was quiet. Then the bag twitched. Just once. Just enough to make my breath catch. I bolted back inside, locked every door, and slept in the living room. For the first time in 2 days, I slept peacefully. But peace never lasts. At sunrise, I went back to my room and froze, because sitting perfectly centered on my pillow was the Labubu doll, as if it had been waiting for me. Its tiny felt fingers were covered in small black flakes. Plastic. The same plastic as the garbage bag. It had clawed its way out. Hands trembling, I grabbed it and threw it across the room. It hit the wall with a soft thud and landed sitting upright, staring, still smiling. My lights flickered. The room went cold. Behind me, I heard breathing, slow, childlike, wet. I spun around, nothing, but when I turned back, the doll was gone. My heartbeat hammered in my ears as I backed toward the door, slowly, carefully. And then I felt it, a cold pressure around my ankle. I looked down. The Labubu was hugging my leg, its tiny hands squeezing hard enough to bruise. It tilted its trembling smile up at me and whispered, "Why did you throw me away?" Instinctively, I kicked it away. It flew across the room but didn't fall. It stuck to the wall, clinging like an insect. Its head rotated, too far, way too far, until its smile was upside down. Then it launched at me, tiny, freezing hands wrapped around my throat, strong, unnaturally strong. I clawed at it, gasping for air, its face pressed right against mine, breath cold as winter, and it whispered, "You bought me. You invited me. Now, you're mine." My vision blurred. Darkness crept in at the edges. I felt myself slipping, falling, fading. I woke up on the floor. The doll was gone, but on my neck were tiny fingerprints. Too small to belong to any human child. Too small to belong to anything I know. And every night since, at exactly 3 a.m., I hear footsteps outside my room. Soft, tiny, getting closer. I don't open the door anymore, because whatever I brought home isn't finished with me.